The best way I can describe myself is feeling as of 12/22/604. This is not the right time. I need to up. How do I refresh my time? Yeah, it is 4:30 in the morning. It's funny because I just got it back to the U.S. Um, I'm using this nice little mug I bought for myself. Maybe for myself. I'm not sure who I bought it for. Um, from Fab India that I just really like some of their like like even when you walk into their store, it's all these. Whoa, where do my words go? I feel like I've been speaking Tamil, having a hard time with that. English, don't really have words in that. Perhaps it's because I don't know what I want to say. Because I feel like I'm running away from what's inside right now. Is how I feel. I feel like the last few days I'm too afraid to yesterday on the flight, the whole flight, and today. I'm afraid to sit and really think about India, in a more profound sense of just when I did the Europe trip, I felt like I you remember in that journal, right? I took all these people's names down. I took all the Polaroids. I was still active on the internet because I felt even more than that my trip meant something. I was like, okay, I'm in Europe. I'm doing all these cool things. I went to this conference, this and that. And then I came back and I realized, oh, okay, it did in some ways, um, like matter outside of the experience of it itself, right? Outside of the 3 months of it itself, what its impact were outside of it, whether it's in my conversations, whatever, were slight. They were there, but it wasn't. And then I came to India and I realized, okay, I don't need to work so hard to make it a memorable thing. So I stopped doing the whole signatures. I stopped doing that stuff. I stopped chasing I want to talk about this. So I only do Polaroids. But now even as I look at these Polaroids, I'm like, they're empty in the fact that I know that they the experiences that these Polaroids try to encapsulate is nowhere near what the experience was. It's 1 millionth of the experience, the feelings of each one of those pictures. They mean nothing. It's just the emotions have been objectified, and to any outside perceiver, it means these pictures mean nothing. It's just what, only thing I remember when Arden showed me, she was in whatever I remember one time where I was kind of minimalized. In my head, I always minimalized her experiences, and that I couldn't even imagine what it'd be like to be in Uganda in a tribe somewhere. Those are just words to me. I don't really have a close. Now I have a little bit better of a sense, but even then, it's different countries, different people, different experiences altogether. And I remember when she showed me a picture, I was like, wow. It gave me a sense of oh, there's a whole world out there that this person experienced that I haven't. That's it. That's the extent that that experience has given. So I have probably 200, 300 Polaroids that do nothing except repeat that message a million times to somebody. It does nothing else in that. They look at it and they're like, oh, you experienced this. No, my experience is not in those pictures. You see an objectified kind of sense of it. You see all these people. So what comes to your mind? Oh, you met a bunch of cool people. Nice. But the experience itself or the emotion that was felt with those people is impossible to communicate. So there is no way to possibly communicate your experience itself in an effective manner. Therefore, the attempt of even capturing it might be so pointless. If that's the desire to capture, right? Your desire to capture that moment so that you can kind of relive it through the other people's experience of it, which is kind of the whole concept of social media, where it's I'm going to live my experience through your experience of my experience. I'm not gonna actually live my experience, right? I did a really good job of truly living my experience time, but each one of these Polaroids were moments in which I did not do that, because the only reason any of these pictures were taken was a means to communicate some sort of message to someone else, and that it's not for me to remember. because there is that part, right? There is this part of like, but do these pictures help me remember? Really? They do. They do. So I think you have to really sit inside and understand what the value of remembering is, right? I think the whole point of remembering, outside of it making me feel good when I'm like having a tough day, which I think is just, I think, I think this idea of like things needing to come up at a time where you need to feel good is, I think I talked about this before, where it's like it can be kind of like a fuel, right? Where your memories can be a fuel you throw into the fire when you really need heat. But outside of that, it serves as a just a reminder that you've come a long way. So how many things do you need to remind you of that? You don't need your pictures from there, your clothes from there, your books from there. Like it's like you need one thing to remind you of the person you were when you're there. You don't need these video journals. You don't need each one doesn't need to remind you of the same thing. Just have one. Just have these video journals. This is enough to remind you, right? Like, I feel like I never feels too disconnected from my past because of these video journals. If these didn't exist, I feel like the past is completely in the past, and I'm like, what happens if you just forget your past? If you have no pictures, no videos, no anything, and you're just there, there's no concept of remembering. And so nothing you do in your life is to remember. You just do stuff because that's what you want to do in that moment. It seems so scary in that the only thing that seems to give us meaning is this idea that we'll remember it. But perhaps we're deceiving ourselves to such a high degree that if we stop thinking about things like, oh, I need to remember that I did this in my childhood, maybe we would just make much better decisions of like what we actually need, and we'll have way more clarity. I'm happy I'm doing these a year late. I feel like even that small decision has made a huge kind of mental shift. But dude, I can't believe I'm back. Like I feel happy right now. Can I feel that? Am I allowed to feel that for like a brief moment? I have immense fucking pride. I fucking did that. You know how hard that shit was? I went to India like a little baby. I went there. My dad called the like every second to get me from a taxi from the airport to Vaidehi Auntie's house to make sure I was safe. I was like, I had like they wrote down all the things of where I had to call the taxi, how I had to get there, who I had to call, all the numbers. From that to how I ended the trip, all the skills that I learned, all the just like ability to take care of myself in these situations, like, let's fucking go. Are you kidding me? I feel like I wasn't able to do that because I was like, I don't want to jinx myself. I don't want to, I was playing very humble. That I wasn't really able to like appreciate the difficulty of what I did. That was not easy. It's really hard. It's just like you can't communicate that. There's no point in even trying. There's no point. So doing something to be able to communicate it is a waste of time because the ability in which I'll be able to communicate what my experience was to someone is 1 millionth of the experience. And you could possibly say that's because of my lack of ability to express. And maybe that's just the limitation of words. Like, I mean, maybe I could write a poem about it. Maybe I could. Yeah, I could probably do a better job expressing what that meant to me through a poem or through a song. But to explain it through words would just be really tough for me. Because, okay, let's say someone's like, how was your India trip? Let me roll my eyes real quick. I know the intention is there, but dude, there's no way to answer that question. How was your India trip? I felt every emotion. Like, it wasn't just like one emotion came out of it. Like, okay, what do you want me to say? If I say transformative, that's so corny. But that's what it was. What do you want me to say? Like, good? It was good. It was fun. All of these things are such, they mean nothing. Like when, yeah, I get pissed when someone says, how's your day? Which, like, if I'm supposed to say, like, direct, like, facts, this is what happened, that's fair. So if you're like, what did you do in India? Like, you want me to tell you 7 months of what I did? Like, Okay, I wanna be vulnerable. Let me share something. I just said 7 months, right? I've been thinking about this a lot recently. There's something in my mind that always wants to say I was there for 7 months rather than 6 months. Why? Where's the ego part of that, right? Whenever people say 6 months, I want to say 7 months. It was, if you round it up, it goes to seven. If you round it down, it goes to six. I was there from the oh no, that's not even true. I think I was there from the 8th to the 20th. So I was there for 6 months and 12 days. So that's not even true. I'm just saying, hey, but 6 months is less than what I was there for. So let me just say 7 months. But why, right? That's why. Well, what is there in your ego that makes you feel like you want to say you were there for so long? Who cares? What I feel like this biggest thing just taught me is that no one, it's not that no one cares. Some people may care, but I don't care. I don't care anymore to really communicate. I've done this, I've done that. I don't care. Like, it just doesn't matter. You have to do things just because I'm like, this is a cool ass experience. Like, I fucking lived in a tent. That was sick. I don't care to walk around being like, hey guys, look what I did. I did this, I did that. Like, it just, the reason I can't care is because if I do care about that, then I'm not gonna do much that I really want to do. I'm just gonna do the things that's gonna sound like a cool story. I'm gonna do the things that I'm like, oh, I want to tell people I did this. It's just you're gonna meet more people in your life who are never gonna know about this India trip, right? The people you meet moving forward, they're never gonna know that you did this unless you tell them. And so it's like what has I think impacted me most on this trip is how little I can explain a lot of things that I did so I could explain. I did a lot of things with the intention of I want to tell people I did this. Then I finished and I realized I did so many of those things I can't even talk about any of them. There's no point. There's no point being like, yeah, I went to a school in the Himalayas. I went to work with Adivasi kids in Gudalur. I like went to a conference in Delhi. I met these dudes. Dude, that whole. Are you kidding me? The ultimate frisbee camp. I went and lived on a farm, and then I went to Banari and I stayed there. And we saw all these 100,000 coconuts, and then I made a really good friend Sumit, and we went on these really cool drive. And then when we were on the top, a bunch of ants crawled into my pants, and I had to take all my clothes off to get them off me. And then I went to a Dashera festival and like got all these really cool art and books, and I saw Diwali in Mumbai, and I was able to, piss off some monks, and I was able to, like, the list goes on and on. I was able to get turned up with some surgeon, Khwaja Meri Khwaja, like, are you, bro? I met Lucy and Alice and in Amritsar, and like kicked it with Abhishek. Abhijit is a goat. I met Varsha. I met just so many lovely people. It really pains me to have to realize, like, you can't explain that. So give up the effort to. But the giving up the effort doesn't come now. It comes when you're actually experiencing those things. Realizing never experience an experience with the attempt to retell it. Because it undermines the entire experience itself. It undermines the people you're interacting with. It undermines just your being there. You're talking to someone and you're like, oh, this is going to be a cool story to tell someone. They're no longer a person. They become an object of your perception to be able to go tell somebody. So all of this has to end. Where you're simply just existing, not to tell a single person anything. Silence. There's no reason to retell your story outside of purpose of like, this is what I've learned for the sake of education. Your India trip was for education. Therefore, share your ideas on education. Do not share. You can't. I mean, it's not. It doesn't hurt to share. It's just the intention upon which you actually do the experience, right? Like the next trip, I want to do even less. What can I do next time when I go to Japan? Right, I'm gonna start spitting out. In 2025, I'm going to another country for 6 months. Dude, I love life. I fucking love life. Are you kidding me? I can do this. I can do this stuff. Like I know when you talk like this is a sign that this is when you're gonna get hit by a bus. But can I like feel myself for like 5 minutes without thinking that if I feel myself, everything is gonna come crashing down? Like I'm playing jazz music in the back, so when you see me dancing, right, it's not silence. Yeah, but I can't believe like that was life. That was 6 months of life right there. I think life is so much bigger than what we're just So I think I'll be staying in Costa Rica in March. So this year, I have no idea how it's going to turn out, 2024, but I was to think. I'm going to spend 1 month with Mylan in Kansas and a bit with like Ummer. So that'll probably be like a month. So probably this month, this year. So 1 month, 1 week that trip. I'll do PK, Ummer, then Mylan. One week. Then I'll do. I could die at any point. Let me also preface it with that. Uh, Costa Rica, I'll do that for a month in March. The bike ride to San Diego, um, Kaleido, and I will try to do the pilgrimage in Spain. That'll be like 2 months. So 2, 3, 4.5 months, I would say I'm gonna be away from here. Maybe I'll say 5. I'll be 5 months I'll spend away from this home. The other 7 months I'm gonna be right here. I'm gonna build all that I can build from this spot. But yeah, okay. Should I start my day? I should. Thanks. I need to just get that out. That was kind of the biggest feeling I've been feeling. I'll post all these videos now that I'm home. I still have like 10 in the backlog. But yeah. Okay. All right. I love you.